Hello and happy Thursday, everybody. Josh here with On the Wrong Lead. Another episode of On the Wrong Lead Live, where we cover the big racing of every weekend. And we're starting to get into it again. Second level preps. We got 50 Derby points going to winners here, 50 Oaks points going to winners. This is where we start to see some of the horses. This is where Caleb officially stops doing his bourbon bets so he doesn't get burned again. And this is one of Mark's favorite weekends because he is a big fan of the regime over in the Middle East. Mr. Mark Capitan, you love Saudi Arabia. You cannot wait for the new track to be built in what's that town called? The futuristic town, like Project 2030 or whatever.
Line in there, 2030 line.
Yeah. You're real excited for that track coming up.
I'm super excited for that. No, I mean, Josh is being Josh, but I do like Saudi racing. I do like some of the overseas winter racing. I think they are tracks that I've historically done well at. I think you can find some angles. They're big, world-class fields. It's really fun to see, Japanese and, Middle Eastern based and also American horses and some of the, English horses and some of the French horses all shipping in, and getting, you kind of get that parity. Who's good, who's not. So it's a lot of fun to kind of see that. And I really enjoy that. I enjoy knowing that, the Japanese have a really strong program. So you're getting priced on Japanese horses. Like you move them up, you move things around. It makes it fun. Saudi Cup. I don't enjoy the Saudi Cup as much as I enjoy the Dubai racing. I think I find that Dubai fits my style a little better, but it's a fun weekend.
You just like that, like pistachio.
Pistachio?
Yeah, have you had Dubai chocolate before? It's got the little pistachio layer in there. No?
Oh, see, chocolate I don't get along, so no.
Oh, of course. And Caleb, you joined us a little bit later from our pre-show, but can you guess where Mark's whiskey is from?
Japan.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
Well done.
There we go. Great job. Caleb Knight starting out with the winner already. Caleb, how you doing, my friend?
Pretty good. What do you got, Mark? I can't read the label.
It's one of the Nika variants.
Nice.
Yeah, it was nice. It was they had it as it was on a special, so I was like, sure, why not?
Nice. Yeah, I like Japanese whiskey. It's super easy to drink. Like if you're not like a barrel proofer kind of guy, like a proof hound like I kind of am, I feel like the other end of that spectrum is Japanese whiskey, and it is just kind of like
so smooth.
Like a not a sherried scotch, but like more like a Speyside scotch, like very light and easy to drink. Mm-hmm. So yeah, definitely a fan of both. But yeah, Josh, I'm doing pretty good. Glad the weekend's coming up. Got a nice little long weekend for President's Day on Monday. So yeah, I know, right? Kind of a weird one to get off, but I'm not complaining about it.
That's wild, dude. When I worked for the state, I didn't even get President's Day off, which is just telling you. Yeah.
Well, and half my company's Canadian, which makes it even better.
Oh man. So what are they like confused? Like why
yeah, they don't understand it, but it's fine. Yeah. They're happy to have a day off, right? Yeah. So yeah, doing good. Like you said, excited now that I always say Risen Star is like officially the start of like you might see one of these horses on the first Saturday in May. You might see one of these horses win the first Saturday in May. I don't know about specifically the Risen Star this weekend, but kind of from this point and this round of preps, I think is where you kind of separate the pretenders from the contenders. So always an exciting time.
Yeah, for sure. Mark, like, I'm sorry about the Saudi, comment, but I'm looking at my notes and it specifically says Mark Stray if possible.
Mark Stray if possible.
So I needed to make sure I got
it's in the script.
There.
I mean,
yeah. So real quick, I know we didn't stream last week. Anything pop out to you guys from last week's racing? Mark, anything?
I didn't really pay a lot of attention to racing last weekend. I was doing a lot of skiing. We've had obviously like some of the best conditions we've had in the Northeast in probably 20 years. So just been enjoying the snow and not paying a ton of attention. So no, didn't really catch much that happened last weekend.
Caleb, anything struck you?
Not skiing, but otherwise kind of similar to Mark. I wasn't super invested last week. I think the main race was like the Sam F. Davis, that never a race that I'm going to get excited about. Renegade won pretty easily. I don't know how much I think of him anyway, But yeah, I don't think I have any like real takeaways from last week. I mean, do you have anything?
No, like I was kind of like I said, I was kind of I've been pretty passive the last couple weeks in my playing, and then I think we ended up having the Withers and the Southwest finally go off after there not being, a ton of time there, or those cancellations. I think the Withers had some huge upset. Talk to me, Jimmy won that and paid $26. But the Withers, I mean, I don't know. I'm never ready to run to bet any of those horses. The Southwest is sometimes a little bit more interesting. In the Southwest, we had Silent Tactic win that one. It was another big time winner. There was the big scratch of the Baffert horse in that race, which I know kind of changed a lot of things. I think
Didn't the
Butane ended up
Baffert
winning there.
scratch his horse scratched from a couple of different tracks? Like was supposed to run at Gulfstream, then was supposed to run at Oaklawn, then Oaklawn got canceled, then was supposed to run at Gulfstream again, then was supposed to run at Oaklawn again, and there was the whole sort of kerfluffle with where that horse was going to land.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, and honestly, that like I was actually kind of upset at the Southwest because I loved the Mark Cassie horse in that race, and I get boomed by the other Cassie. And my I like the Mr. Pudding Cup himself, JJ, on strategic risk, and didn't run a step in that race. So
I did actually. Now that you mentioned, it, I forgot about that race because it was on Friday with the weather cancellations. I actually had the winner that day and made $0 because I got greedy with doubles into a night horse in the last race. So stayed true to the brand at least.
As is the way.
Yep. Wait, where's this?
That's a better one. That's much more fitting.
But yeah, I was all messed up with those races being on Friday, and then Sam F. Davis, I didn't even really look at. I had a lot of social stuff I was doing last week, so I didn't get too much to it. But obviously, if you guys are watching us live, make sure go ahead and talk in chat. We're always eager to talk with you guys. I already see Penn State Scott. He's in here. He says, let's come get some winners in the Big Easy. And he thinks, isn't Renegade upgraded if Paladin wins on Saturday? Well, that's a funny question.
Well,
Talking
I
about
think
Paladin winning on Saturday,
the other sort of
but-
way around. Don't you sort of have to upgrade Paladin off Renegade's win from last week?
Yeah,
think
I
that's
would
what he
probably
was trying
say
to imply.
the inverse. Yeah,
That's not how you would spin it around. But I didn't realize you threw it to Caleb. But I don't know. I don't know what to do with that race. So do you have any strong opinions, Caleb? Because I really don't on how you take it off Renegade's win.
I don't know. Stick around to the end of the show and find out.
Well, why don't we get right into it here? We're gonna start here at Fairgrounds. We got race 8 at Fairgrounds, the Al Stahl Memorial Stakes here, and if you give me a second, I will get the PPs up here from our friends over at DRF. Obviously, if you don't know, DRF is running a special right now. They have their President's Day sale, up to 15% off. I believe we have a link in the description, so check them out there. We're gonna start here on the turf. We got 1.16 miles on the turf. Fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up, $100,000 up for grabs. Mark, since we don't have a guest, I guess you can go first. Where did you land here?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a ton creative to say in this race. Try to dig through here and make some case for some prices, and just really kind of ended up on Maduro, the favorite in here. I think she's just gonna kind of inherit the right type of trip in this spot. She's handled Fairgrounds, she's handled this trip. She gets Jose Ortiz, who's absolutely been riding phenomenally down at the Fairgrounds. And he's been absolutely amazing for the Peter Urton barn. They're 44% together in the last year at the Fairgrounds. So I think Medoro is just much much the horse to beat. And here, I made a joke with Josh. I thought this sequence was a little chalky, and I actually think this is one of the legs that you could get a little cute and single in. There's a big field here. A lot of people are going to try to spread. I think if you're getting a little skinny when other people are spreading, that makes a lot of sense. So I thought Medoro could be a lone single on a lot of tickets in this kind of spot. So nothing really interesting to say. I'm sure Caleb will have choice words for the two, so I'll let him have some fun there. But I don't know, which one do you guys wants to try to tell me how stupid I am here?
Caleb, I'll let you go. Where you want to go first? Or you want me to go?
You can go, Josh.
I kind of somewhat agree with Mark in the spot.
That's why I let you go first. I should have disagreed with Mark.
I do like the one Medoro. I really only like two horses in this race. There's a third I kind of like a little bit, but they're the top two finishers from the last race that Medoro was in. I think the one Medoro makes a ton of sense. Has got a couple of back races that are actually better than what he ran the last two. But Timeform actually gave Cupid's Crush a better number in that last race. Now, I went back and I looked at that race. The race didn't exactly fall apart, but if I remember correctly, Medoro kind of came from off of it, and then Lucky Speech closed in, Nanda Dea closed in, and really you're going back to like the fifth place finisher to see anybody that was kind of up on that pace. So I'm not really sure if Cupid's Crush just kind of held on after running pretty game in that race. I don't know if just the rest of the horses that were kind of poorly placed were just absolute trash. I'm not really sure, but I see that Timeform fig, and I kind of think that in this race, there's a good shot that the 9. I mean, granted, from the outside post might be a little tough, but I think the 9 is your speed in this race. So I like the 9 Cupid's Crush, and I like the 1 Medoro as my 2 A's. Caleb, where did you kind of land?
Yeah, it's kind of funny because I think when I handicapped this card, it kind of felt like I was handicapping the Lecomte card. It feels like we're seeing a lot of the same horses and a lot of the same runbacks. I was very against Medoro in the last race, understanding that he was or she was the horse to beat, but just kind of not very enthusiastic about the body of work she brought into that race. The race was bad enough. She got bet down to essentially even money and got the job done. This is basically the same field. I mean, her biggest competition is probably oversubscribed, who I have less than zero interest in. Chad Brown thinks that if he takes this horse, 2 years off a layoff, that I won't notice that she debuted at Tampa, but I did notice. So for me, this horse is just A, not good enough, B, going to get overbet based on connections, and as the second choice, I have very little interest in oversubscribed. I'll probably loan A Medoro, similar to Mark. If I was going to have a second horse in here, I did kind of look back at the number 3, Sweet Treasure. I kind of liked her in that initial matchup, and she did take some money that day. And I don't know what the plan was, but I doubt it was to come out 9th by 6. And I guess that's kind of what you get when you put Irad Ortiz on a speed horse on turf. But I just, this is a horse who's been quite successful on the lead or within a length of the lead. Didn't really catch her breaking all that poorly, but just really didn't make an effort to get forward positioning. I doubt those tactics will be the same again today. So I'm kind of willing to maybe look past that last race and in a race that, to Josh's point, doesn't have much speed. Maybe Flo gets her out there on the front end and, she can get a little bit brave, but it's more of a BC type play. Medoro is going to be a tough horse to beat, running back against a field that she's already handled.
Yeah, Mark, were there any other horses you want to talk about in here?
The only other horse that I think is interesting, at least for me, is the 8-horse Feather Boa for Todd Pletcher. A horse that hasn't, she doesn't win very often, but at least has some speed figures that do sort of fit in this spot. I like to see Johnny V getting up for Todd. And I think she's an interesting player, just as at least I know Caleb talked about this is a lot of the same horses. This is at least a fresh face. It's a horse we don't know, how she manages and how she handles the surface. And you're getting a little bit of a price there to, on her. I don't know if she's good enough, but I thought she was the one other horse that I thought may have a little bit of upside.
Yeah, I kind of similar to you. If I were to pick a horse from outside that last race, I liked Expensive Queen, the 4. I thought that this horse was interesting. 2 for 3 since coming to the U.S. Obviously, they ran this horse in the Grade 1 Gamely, kind of ran an even 4th in that race. There's a couple of nice horses that were in that race. Be Your Best, Lady Claypool. But came back off the turf race at Gulfstream. Took care of business. Brendan Walsh is just, I don't know, man. He's just been on fire to start this year. So, I seeing Luis Saez get aboard here. Just another race where another type of horse where, like, depending on the pace scenario, there could be a chance that Louis tries to get sneaky with this horse and just gets this horse up in front on not on, like, right on the lead, but I think he's going to have this horse forwardly placed, and this is the horse that's won from a length and a half off or has been able to close, so has shown some versatility, has passed some other horses in some of these races, so. And it's the horse that's ran well on 3 different surfaces. So, I thought she was an interesting type in this race. But that was the only horse I really had as a B. Caleb, do you have anything else in here?
Nope. Like I said, I think the 1 wins this race well over half the time. I think 9 to 5 would actually be an overlay if she goes off at that price. I think she'll probably be in the ballpark of 6 to 5 again here. I don't want to get too creative here just because I just don't see a lot of upset potential. Your 4, I think, is a bit interesting as an outsider. The 2 wins came on Lasix. There's things to like, right? But, but I do think she would need a step forward here, and Medoro has just been ultra consistent. So,
and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention to Penn State Scott that I am drinking a Jack Daniel's Bonded Rye. So I do have a little whiskey in front of me. Caleb, what do you got? Cough syrup or?
I got beer today. I got an Odell Mercenary Double IPA.
Oh, nice. Anything else in this race? Going once, going twice. Race 9, the Mine Shaft. Grade 3 race here on the dirt. We're gonna be going a mile and 16th. 4-year-olds and up. $250,000 up for grabs in this race. Your morning line favorite is a horse that's running at the wrong track at 9 to 5. Hit show. Caleb, where did you land here?
Yeah, I think this race is extremely square. I think this whole sequence is chalky. I guess the more we kind of get into it. I am the farthest thing from a hit show fan. That is really more you and Mark's corner. But this is the most textbook every other racehorse that has ever existed. He doesn't win 2 races in a row, but he rarely loses 2 races in a row. He's appropriately spotted here. He's realistically not a Grade 1 horse, despite his upset last year in Dubai. It's a realistic spot. The field came up even softer than normal. He's by far the best horse in the race. The only horse I would potentially give a look to would be the number 2, Accelerize, who should have a pretty significant pace advantage over this field, is lightly raced. Todd Pletcher always does well when he ships to Fairgrounds on days like today. This horse will have a significant pace advantage in here. So Hit Show is going to have a lot to do in the lane, but I do think that he's probably good enough to overcome that and get the job done. I would probably structure this Hit Show A, Accelerize B probably, and that kind of might be it.
I was just trying to get creative here. I'm probably Calebing this race and throwing out the probably most logical winner in the entire sequence. But I'm singling the 2, Accelerize in the spot. Lone speed at a track that tends to normally be super speed favoring. I have a hard time, not at least having this horse on my tickets. But yeah, I think I'll take a shot here. Try and keep the ticket skinny, and see if we can't get a little bit of an upset here and get alive to a nice one. So I'm gonna single a two. I mean, Caleb, I think you pointed out well. I mean, this is a horse that wired last race at the Louisiana at a nice price. Coming back here, you're gonna get probably, I think half the price, like 4-1, is probably going to be right. I think it's going to be your second choice after hit show. So, but Todd Pletcher and Johnny Velasquez, when they team up, man, good things tend to happen. And Johnny Velasquez on a speed horse. I mean, I don't know. I've seen this story a couple of times before. So yeah, I'm going to go with the 2 Accelerized in this spot. Mark, where did you land?
Yeah, I think Hit Show is very much the horse to beat in this spot. But my, the one question mark I have with Hit Show is why is he here and why is he not in Saudi Arabia? I mean, the Saudi Cup did not come up. I mean, obviously, there's some very talented horses in there. We'll talk about some of them later. But I mean, he won the Dubai World Cup last year. You'd think that they would try to do the double this year with him and ship him over. He's been a little bit better at at 10 furlongs, or sorry, 9 furlongs his career, which is what the Saudi Cup is. So I found it really interesting that he's here and not there. But again, he is the every otherest of every other horses. Caleb already threw that out there. And if he brings his even B effort, he should be really, really tough in here. I think I'm gonna be against Accelerise here. Just on the fact that this horse does need to take a pretty big step forward, at least on time form figs, to be a major player here. But the one horse I'm a little bit interested in that we didn't really much talk about is the 4-horse Moonlight for Chris Block, who's a horse that has speed figures that play in here. It has to come up from off the pace, and I realize that's not necessarily the running style you want to have at the Fairgrounds, but is another one of these sort of every other type horses, and this is the every race. So another horse that I think at a little bit of a price for lesser connections could have some upside. You might get at least a little price on Moonlight in here. So I think Hit Show is kind of a lone A for me, and then Moonlight's probably my lone B.
Anything else on this race? Oh, you guys are
I got nothing.
square as hell, man. Race 10, the Fairgrounds Stakes. We're going to be going a mile in an eighth on the turf. 4-year-olds and up, $175,000. And yeah, your morning line favorite in this race is the 7, Kapuna. Yeah, I think Kapuna makes a bit of sense. Honestly, I think the horse I'm most against in this race, the short price horse, is actually the 9 Laganos. This is like your prototypical horse that like just throws up winning numbers and just refuses to win, unless he's at Kentucky Downs unless he's at Kentucky Downs apparently. But I mean, this is a horse that keeps on running in those low 120s in races where like the low 120s should probably win, and then I mean gets bodied by Wolfie's Dynagos in the grade 3. Like, I mean, I don't know.
Hey, Wolfie's just set a track record. Don't disparage Wolfie's.
Man, I just like, I mean, I just can't trust this horse. Like, for a bit. I mean, like last race was that horse found a way to lose that race. Like, I just don't understand how. How he loses that race. Looked to be a winner at the top of the stretch, I thought, and then got run down. But, I think Kapuna is kind of the opposite, where this is a horse coming in with really, really good form. Closed last time to win. Had a couple of blue fractions in there. I don't really know if they were going necessarily that slow, but I know our friend Murphy loves to see that. So I really like Kapuna, but. My top pick's probably the 2 Brilliant Birdie in here. Sherry DeVoe shipping this horse in the Turf Mile at Keeneland. Obviously he's got a huge 130 figure for that effort. But this was a horse that looked like was starting to get a little bit better and better last year, coming in here as a 5-year-old. And I'm just hoping that this is a horse that can kind of show some of the form that he showed at the end of last year. And yeah, I think that maybe the only concern is going to be that there's not really much pace, if any, in this race. So a couple of questions here, but I got one B I want to talk about. But Caleb, I'll toss it over to you. Where did you land?
Yeah, I think between the three kind of short priced horses being Brilliant Birdie, Capuna, and Laganos, I significantly prefer Capuna between the three of them. This is a horse who has a number of speed figures that are fast enough to win, and really seems to be better after the barn change and getting moved onto the turf. I was a bit skeptical of the move initially, but clearly it's panned out quite well. Got the job done last time, as a beaten favorite two back. And then really is only, less than a length away from having, 3 for 3 on turf in his most recent starts. I just think he's the most consistent runner in here. Brilliant Birdie, I'm just a little concerned about his ability to replicate some of those races outside of Churchill Downs. I think that's where he has something like 5 or 6 of his 7 wins. I know the Turf Mile came up as a very fast race at Keeneland, had a swift pace. I'm skeptical of, let me see. I think there's 0 chance in hell it's actually 130 on time form. Is it still a fast race? Yeah, I think it's a 125 probably. That being said, I'm just a little bit skeptical of his ability to translate his form that has largely been at Churchill and, maybe a little bit at, Kentucky Downs or somewhere else. When he tried Fairgrounds last year, it was kind of a disaster. He's actually, never hit the board in his 2 tries on this turf course. Fairgrounds does play a bit quirky and Churchill is extremely quirky. So I just wonder if he's maybe a bit of a specialist there. So I'm a little bit against Brilliant Birdie, but there's a price at maybe 5 or 6 to 1 where I would like him. I just tend to think he might actually go off as your favorite. So I'll probably be against him. Laganos, I'm with you, Josh, not for me. Too many numbers, big numbers and losing efforts. So I do like Capuna, but I think surprisingly my top pick is going to be the horse that actually pulled off the upset against Capuna 2 back. I'd rather be Blessed. And this is a horse that I don't think is probably the most talented horse in the field, but left alone, this horse can win this race. We've seen it 2 back where they didn't press this horse. There wasn't much speed in the race. He got away with some moderate fractions and he was able to, pretty comfortably beat Capuna and then Sandpipes as well, who, Capuna obviously came back to turn the tables next time out. But that was kind of a funky race. I'm shocked time form has it color-coded blue because the pace completely fell apart that day at the Fairgrounds. So I'm not sure if I would say it was a slow pace. Maybe the raw times were on the slow side, but I do tend to think the way the race set up, it was just the pace fell apart. I'd rather be Blessed didn't get his preferred spot on or near the lead. He was fractious, before going into the gate, a little bit wide. Just a bad trip for a horse that it really is a little more one-dimensional at this point of his career. I see no speed in this race. I mean, I could be surprised in one of these, other, Sandpipes maybe gets aggressive from the rail or something, but I see no speed. And this horse is good enough to win with his trip. He's going to get overlooked like he does every single time. If you look at the odds this horse typically gets sent off at. And I think he's in with another upset chance again, just like he had 2 back. So I'm going to take the top 2 finishers from that 2 back race at the Fairgrounds to run 1-2 again with Capuna, and I'd rather be Blessed.
Yeah, you guys have kind of talked all the horses that I want to talk about. I think I'd rather be Blessed. I think, if Caleb and I are both in the horse, you probably are going to get 5 to 1, 6 to 1 range. Brilliant Birdie. I don't believe that last out fig, but the horse does have some prior figs that really make him a player in here. And I think Capuna is at least a little bit interesting. So I think the race kind of goes to the 2, the 7, and the 8, but nothing super creative. I think I can get skinnier in prior legs, and I can spread out, get a little bit more coverage here. And it might even add in somebody like the 5-horse Cameo Performance in here a little bit as well. Just get a little bit of coverage in this race because I could get a little cute other places. Yeah.
All 3 of us I'd rather be Blessed. Now, me and Caleb simped for this horse last time out.
We did.
And this horse just loves to win like 2 races a year at just stupid prices. So yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think that last race was just, kind of an aberration. Like, I don't know. It's really weird. Like, time form, I think, didn't know what to do with that race because, I mean, they even have it with the P designation, right? And if you guys don't use time form, generally it means that there was something wrong with the pace. So they didn't really know, like, how to assign a figure to it, right? And then you see the blue fractions, but then like Caleb, you said, it looked like the race kind of fell, or like race fell apart. I think the leaders finished like way at the back in that race, so it's just really weird how that race kind of got split out. But yeah, outside of the one or sorry, the two and the 7, the only other horse I'm going to want to use is going to be the 8. I'd rather be blessed in this spot. We did see Big Chief Rasta show up in chat. He says that was a big bomb at Turfway right now. If you guys are watching, who's had a 47-1 horse that just booed me out of everything there at Turfway. But yeah, that was a rough one. Anything else in this race?
I had one more horse since we're moving so quickly. I wasn't sure what to do with the 6 Montador. This also sort of feels like a race where I'm a little bit tired of the usual suspects. Like I'm a little bit tired of Laganos. I'm a little bit, I'm definitely tired of like Gigante, Cameo Performance. I mean, okay, probably, I'm not sure if he's ever been good enough to win this race. And the 6 Montador is kind of that new shooter. If you look at his body of work, I mean, he likes to win races, 5 out of 7 times, been in the exacta. His only time really missing the board recently, or I guess ever, not counting his disqualification anyway, was a race that was off Lasix at Churchill in the Commonwealth turf. And he was only 5th by a length in that race. He does need to get faster to win this race, I think, but he's already proven he likes a 1.125 He likes the Fairgrounds. And now he's kind of making a start as a 4-year-old now, a freshly turned 4-year-old. Probably has a lot more upside than a horse like Capuna, for example, or a horse like, Laganos, who we've kind of seen probably the best they have to offer. So I don't know if 6-1 is the right price necessarily. I do wonder or hope that floats up a bit. But that's the other horse I kind of had written down that I just wasn't sure what to do with.
Yeah, I saw Penn State Scott. That was kind of the horse he was talking about. He really likes the 6 here. So that was his pick. Yeah, this is kind of another this is kind of interesting horse. Kind of a bit of an every other horse a little bit. But yeah, no, did look to kind of improve and put two good efforts together here at Churchill and at Fairgrounds. So gets Gaff aboard. So kind of an interesting horse, I think, in this spot. But yeah, dude, I looked at Gigante and all I could think of was like, man, this horse again. Like,
man, there was a point this horse would be even money against this field, right?
Yeah, yeah. Like what, last year?
Yeah, I mean, boy, did this horse's form just go sour.
Yeah.
Don't tell Andy that you're disparaging Gigante. He's gonna be, oh boy, insufferable.
Anything else here in this race? All right, let's move on to race 11, the Grade 2 Rachel Alexandra Stakes. Yes, Mark, I've heard of the horse before you bring that up.
I was 100% planning on doing that.
We're going to be going a mile and 16th on the dirt here for 3-year-old fillies, $300,000 on the line. The first 50-point Oaks preps. And honestly, I really like what Fairgrounds has done with their preps. They were kind of they started stretching some of their preps out. I think like they went like an extra half furlong each on their races or something. And I really feel like, the Fairgrounds preps for fillies have always been very productive. Going back at least like since I've been following horse racing, which is like 2 months. But I really feel like it's helped, and I know we're going to talk about the Risen Star later, but I really feel like it's helped the quality of horses. I think that have started showing up for the Fairgrounds male preps for the Derby, I think, as well. So kudos to Fairgrounds for kind of trying to be a little bit different and do something there. But this is an interesting race. The 2-1 favorite, Ballerina here. She, if you look at time form, has got the favors front runners. The lack of pace here, and she looks to be kind of your controlling speed in here. I said I was only going to Caleb one leg, but I think I might be Calebing two legs in here because I don't have the three on any of my tickets in this spot. I actually prefer the two other short prices in here or shorter prices. The 5 Powered by Family, is coming in here off of a maiden win in the mud, kind of closing in that race where the horse just kind of didn't break, right? And was kind of really, really far behind, but was able to just make a really huge move win and win by 4 lengths there. And visually, it looked really good, right? And I mean, this is probably just, caveman brain Josh being like, oh, very impressive. If this horse breaks, like this horse is going to win by like 9 million, right? Time form gave that a raw 104 and actually downgraded it to a 103. So dumb caveman brain is betting this horse and thinking like, hey, maybe if Jose can get this horse to break, we got something here. And I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into this, but the fact that Jose's ridden this horse 2 times already and is staying aboard for the 3rd time, at least for me, shows at least a little bit of vote of confidence that he has in this horse. Because I mean, frankly, Jose basically is the guy, right, at Fairgrounds. If you want the local jock at Fairgrounds, you want Jose Ortiz, right? So I don't know. Maybe I'm just upgrading this horse too much because Jose's staying on. Very visually impressive win last time. But I like the 5 Powered by Family. And then the one just singing coming in here for Kent Sweezy. Last time I think the horse was just absolutely left. And if you look at the other 2 races that this horse has run, this horse was still kind of at the back, but didn't just completely lose contact with the field, right? So I don't really know what happened that last race for that horse to be so far back. But I can't imagine that that's the plan. You get Johnny V here. Johnny V, I think, is going to be a little bit more aggressive and get the horse, I think, closer to what you maybe saw 2 back at Churchill Downs. And I think that's going to be, I think, a little bit closer of a winning type, trip. Just being a little bit. You can't be 14 lengths off of it and expect to win, frequently. So. So I'm gonna hope we get a little bit better trip here with the 1, and then really the only other horse I used was the 8 until I was forcefully reminded that Paco Lopez has got like a broken ankle or something, and I just kind of thought that this could be like a sneaky, get aggressive on this horse and maybe put a little bit of pace pressure on the 3 and is just another lightly raced horse that's past other horses, right? And we talk about this a lot in these early, late 2-year-old, early 3-year-old preps that, hey, sometimes these horses are just not used to getting challenged. But if you got a horse that's already shown a propensity to pass other horses, I tend to upgrade those kinds of horses. But I landed on the 1 and the 5 here. Caleb, are you with me on being against the 3, or are you anti-Calebing this?
I'm anti-Calebing this, which I guess means I'm marking it. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah. When I first glanced at this race, I just looked at the favorite Bella Ballerina, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm not going to use that horse. And then I actually handicapped the rest of the race, and I'm like, wow, is this a bad running of the Rachel Alexandra compared to what we normally see in this field? I just think she also has such a large pace advantage in here. And I don't think she's significantly better than any of the others, but she's going to be, Josh, you anti-Josh this race, going for horses that won't even be in the screen for the first half of the race. I just, I don't think anyone in here is good enough to run down Bella Ballerina if she's going to be out there loose, winging it, going 24-48. So, yeah, for me, I think Just Singing might be a nice horse. I don't think she can, do what she did the last couple of times coming from that far back. Same thing with Powered by Family, who I'm probably even more against, coming off the maiden breaker in the mud against meant for turf horses. And the speed horses that I, tried to make the case for, like maybe a Love Your Neighbor getting Saez up. She was my top pick in the Silver Bullet Day. She ran fine, but it's hard to take much out of that race because the pace was truly so slow. She might be one that I throw on a couple tickets simply because I really liked her effort in the Untappable where the jock lost an iron. I think she should have won that race if not for that happening. And then last time she was just trying to close into, truly a glacial pace up front. I don't think Saez is going to let that happen. The blinkers go on here. You get a pretty significant rider change. I don't know if she's good enough to win, but I don't think there's any monsters in here. So I think this could be one of those races where whoever gets the better trip might just get the win here. If Saez gets real aggressive and kind of, bullies Gaff off the lead, a horse like Love Your Neighbor could probably, steal this race on the front end as well. A horse like Majestical, I kind of glanced at. This is a big step up in class, and you do lose the winning rider, Jose Ortiz. I just don't know if this horse is going to be able to make that jump right now. So for me, it probably is Bella Ballerina is a horse I'm going to use, and then maybe Love Your Neighbor would be a second one I'll have just because of the way I see the pace setting up.
Yeah, I'll keep this one fairly simple. I think Bella Ballerina goes Rachel Alexandra in the Rachel Alexandra and kind of wins this one for fun. She should be controlling speed on the front end, and it seems she's got a high cruising speed. There's no other pace in here that I think goes. I just don't understand the chink in the armor. Joshing himself is the weirdest thing ever. So I'm baffled by this, but I think Bella Ballerina is much the horse to beat in here, and I think this is one of the other races in this sequence you can get pretty aggressive into her.
Anything else in this race? No? All right. We move on to race 12, the Risen Star. And we're going to be going here 1.8 on the dirt. 3-year-olds, 500K on the line, 50 Derby points. Caleb, you said that this whole sequence looks chalky. Does that mean that you want to chalk in this race the number 4 Paladin?
From what I'm seeing, and it kills me to say this, is like I don't think I can just like toss this horse out. I want to. God, do I want to. But I just think, this race arguably seems, less competitive than what we saw in the Lecomte. I mean, the field size came up smaller. I think there's less interesting ways to play this race. Paladin might be really good. I mean, somebody thought this horse was good enough that they paid $1.9 million for him. Pedigree, he's going to run all day, debuted at a route. Got moved up to first when he was fouled by Renegade in that race. And then in the grudge match, he beat Renegade pretty handily. Someone in chat earlier was talking about Renegade and does that make you move up Paladin? And I mean, I think to an extent it does. I mean, Renegade's figure did not improve in that Sam F. Davis from what he ran in the Remsen. The Remsen hasn't been the strongest race as far as runbacks are concerned. It's been fine. Renegade and Balboa essentially just repeated in the Sam F. Davis against a bunch of claimers. So I don't know that I'm dramatically moving this horse up based on Renegade coming back to win, but the horse is very much untested. The sky could be the limit, only making his third career start. And the thing I kind of note about him, versus other, horses I've been kind of against so far is my kind of theme for the entire card really is I don't see a ton of pace in a lot of these races. I think that theme continues here. I don't think it's a race like last time where like the Rachel Alexandra where there's zero pace essentially, but I don't see much and Paladin can sit right off of it. This is not like a big run one closer. And kind of for that reason, like I'm probably going to be against Golden Tempo, who I think might be just an extremely talented horse, but that running style is so hard to win with, not just being a closer, but being a different zip code kind of a closer. Paladin doesn't have to work out a trip. I mean, Paladin kind of makes his own trip. So I think he's your likeliest winner of the race. It's kind of disgusting to say. I think you're getting a monumental jockey downgrade here. Can't blame Pratt for going overseas to chase, that monster purse. But yeah, I mean, there's chinks in the armor here, but the horse is your likeliest winner, I think. That being said, I can't just talk about a favorite because that feels really dirty. I am going to give another chance to the number 5 Chip Honcho. This is a horse who I liked in Lecomte, and I thought he ran a pretty nice race that day. If you go back and kind of watch the replay, this horse was just laughably wide. I mean, he was breaking from the 11 post, well, the 10 post, I guess, as the 11 horse, which was a difficult feat, of course. And then 5 or 6 wide into that first turn, right up on the pace, but super wide. 3 wide down the backstretch, 3 wide into the second turn. I mean, he lost so much ground while pressing a pace that, the first and second place finisher, I mean, it came from far off the pace. I mean, you can go back and look at Golden Tempo's running lines. He wasn't even in the frame. And Golden Tempo saved every inch of ground, closed up the fence. I just think that Chip Honcho might be a little better than that. And I do think if Paladin is not the goods, then this turns into a kind of a trip race in terms of who kind of gets the best trip. And I think Chip Honcho in a smaller field with a better post position, a better jock, it probably gets a better trip here. I don't know if he can beat Paladin, but I think he's better than he showed in that last race.
Mark?
Yeah, so Paladin will be on 0 of my tickets, and I'm kind of shocked that Caleb is using this horse. Caleb is the king of talking about sus duck figs, and saying about how all these ducked horses are dressed up, and the figs come back too fast, and they can't run when they get out of town. This is a horse that lost on debut, threw up a big fig, and then wins fine. Second time out. Flavian doesn't think this horse is good enough to stay in town, and I get it. There's a lot more money to be made overseas, and he does have some big name mounts that he's riding. I get that, but I just think that this horse is going to take all the money on all the connections, and is he really that good? I don't know. I mean, somebody paid what 1.3 million for Miramati, and that horse sucks. So just because they paid big money for a horse doesn't mean they're any good. Could he win it? Sure, I guess he could. But my thought is here, there's just way other more interesting outsiders to go with when I just don't think that Paladin is that much better than anybody else in the field, at least on what he's shown. So, I know that Caleb kind of dunked on Golden Tempo. I do agree the horse is going to be coming from way out of it, but the horse is undefeated. And Jose Ortiz has a way, of kind of somehow making horses change their sort of approach. And I think you see a little bit more speed of a Golden Tempo. I think this may just be a young horse that's trying to figure out the pieces, trying to figure out how to race. If he has him a little more forwardly placed, I think there's enough pace that one can run into. I know Josh and I both are big fans of Carson Street, the 3 horse in here. I think that's another horse that is not a win monster by any means, but is probably figuring out that racing thing and taking steps forward. That last effort was a massive improvement figures wise. And the other horse that I thought was really, and Caleb already mentioned, I think Chip Honcho, who's another horse that I think you're going to get a little bit of a price in here, and has every right to take a step forward. I think there's a couple of other ways you can go in here. I don't dislike somebody like According. Yeah, Quality Mischief is up against it from a pace dynamic standpoint, but that's another one that could also take a step forward. So I think I'll let somebody like Paladin beat me. If Paladin wins this pick 5 probably pays $20 or something stupid. There's absolutely no money to be made if Paladin wins. So I will try to find some other more interesting players in here in a sequence where I think I can get a little aggressive early, and then I'll kind of spread this race and hope I find me a price.
Yeah, I ended up on 2 horses in this race. My top pick in this race is actually the 3 Carson Street. Kind of looking back at the Fairgrounds race last time out, the 2 winners kind of came from way off of it in that race. And Carson Street and Chip Honcho were both up on it, but the the usual leader, Crown the Buckeye, or the horse that kind of led the race for most of the way, he kind of fell way back. The horse that was fourth and fifth, I mean, those horses kind of came back. So I don't know. I think you kind of upgrade a little bit what the two and maybe by proxy was or sorry, the three and what the five Chip Honcho ended up running in that race. So yeah, I really like the three Carson Street in this spot. Hoping we get another step forward here. We already talked about Brendan Walsh, basically being on fire to start the year everywhere. So I really like the three, and then obviously the one Universe. This is kind of a weird horse that near the last year in the street sense, right? They stretched the horse out, and this is a horse that was pretty forwardly placed, and I thought ran pretty well in that race. And you look at the other races, and I don't know, the horse just wasn't involved early. And when you kind of look at this horse's PPs, this is a horse that needs to be involved early, I think, in order to run his best race. And you look at, obviously Joel Rosario, Brian Hernandez. I mean, you're getting, Chris Elliott. Mark, what was my remark earlier about Chris Elliott?
I think you said he was an idiot or a
yeah.
moron
So, of course,
or
yeah,
stupid or
of course
terrible
I'm betting
or
this
horrible,
horse
like the
again
worst
because,
jockey ever.
Okay,
or
I didn't
something like
go
yeah.
that far. I didn't go that far. All right,
It's Manny Franco.
Exactly. Every jock's the worst when I bet them. I don't understand what happens there. Yeah. So Kenny McPeak with a jock change here. Horse is gonna be drawn on the rail. I think the horse needs to be involved early, and I think if the horse can get involved early, I think he's got a shot. I mean, this is the horse that was running 106s last year, 107s. So hopefully he can take a step forward here as a 3-year-old. I mean, sometimes these horses don't, right? But I think I am getting a little bit of a price to take a shot. And then the only horse I have as a B is the 2 Golden Tempo. And we kind of talked about. I talked about this before with Jose and Sherry. Like, this is the third time that Jose is going to be riding this horse. I do think that he kind of. I think he kind of lucked into that win last time out, coming from that far off of it. But a horse is 2 for 2. Jose staying aboard. I'm gonna have this horse on some of my tickets at least. So I got the 1 in the 3 as A's. I got the 2 as my lone B. Anything else here you guys want to talk about?
Is there anybody we didn't talk about at this point? I mean.
Yeah, no. I mean, I think for me, like when I handicapped this sequence, I think what's more interesting than who is going to win is really how you're going to structure a ticket here if you're a pick 5 player or something. Because I think to Mark's point, there's a very real chance this pays less than $100. So you either figure out, am I okay with that? In which point I'm going to get extremely skinny towards the favorites and try to press my bet for 5, 10, 20x. Or am I going to find a vulnerable favorite, whether you think that's Paladin or do you think that's Bella Ballerina or whoever, and say I'm going to, let them beat me. If they win, in my opinion, it pays peanuts, and I'm okay with losing that bet. I think it's a tough sequence from that perspective. For me, I don't see this paying much. I think it'll be a couple fun races to watch. Maybe if we get I'd Rather Be Blessed home, we can spice up the payouts a little bit. I do think that turf race is probably where your best chance for a price is going to come. But, truth be told, I don't see the sequence paying too much.
Penn State Scott saying the pick 5 coverage might be record time from us.
Right? I think our friends at Naira are going to kick it over to us. We're going to be done already.
Anything else here? All right. Well, Mark, I know this is like your time to shine here, Mark. But I'm sure you got other races that you got some insight on. But the only race that I think we all are kind of going to be looking at here is going to be the Saudi Cup, and we're going to be going a mile and an eighth here on the main track. I believe this is still the richest race in the world at $20 million purse. And yeah, Mark, I mean, this is where you like to be. You like to mix it up with the Sheik and others here. So
The
where did you
sheep
land in
can't
this
bet
race?
though. I mean, the sheep
That's
can't
true.
bet, and I can. No, I think. Well, first off, let's start about some of the cool things about this entire card. The fact that these are commingled pools, and these are commingled pools through Hong Kong. So you're going to have huge pools. You're going to have huge amount of money flowing through these races. Now, with that being said, we saw what the takeout was earlier, and there are some of these wagers that you definitely do want to avoid. But when you see these races where there's tons of money throw it flowing through international pools, especially with Hong Kong, you tend to see odds lines that get really weird. And I think oftentimes, people that aren't in the United States don't know what to do with dirt horses. They don't know how to handicap these races. So oftentimes you can find a lot of overlays in these types of spots. And I think this is one of those cards where you take that kind of approach. You pick your spots, maybe play some doubles, maybe play some win bets, and you try to find some value on some of those lower takeout wagers. I think I threw the chart up. What are the good ones to target? Yeah, Quinellas are really good here, and then win place kind of stuff is also really good in this kind of sequence. So I think you got to start. You have to have the conversation of what do you do with Forever Young on the spot. If you believe the figure, if you believe he can repeat the figure that he threw up in the Breeders' Cup Classic, then he's an absolute single. You close your eyes, you walk away. He wins this by open lengths, and it's a joke. I just don't necessarily think he can. Yes, he's your returning champion, but he's a horse that hasn't consistently won back-to-back races a ton of times in his career. Yes, he had a soft prep before the Breeders' Cup, Breeders' Cup Classic. We know that, but last year he showed up in the Saudi, won the Saudi, and then he kind of flopped in Dubai. He throws up an absolute just monster figure in that Del Mar race. And I don't know if you want to say he bounces. I don't know if you want to say that he's always been a little bit of he's a kind of horse that wins a lot. I just have never really kind of trusted, and I think this is a kind of spot that you take a shot against him. And there's a lot of different ways you can go in here. I'm sure that Josh is going to be all over the Bafferts, which I mean, you keeping it to form. But I thought there were some interesting players in here going some other directions. So let me start with the 2-horse Bishop's Bay for Brad Cox. You're getting your Alvarado up, a horse that, again, another horse that really does like to win, but you're just going to get a lot better price here. If you disregard Forever Young's last out time form fig, Bishop's Bay fits very well within this field. There's a question to be said. Recently he hasn't necessarily loved going this far, but earlier in his career he did. So I don't think he's a massive outlier in here, and I think he's an interesting player, in this race. The other horse I thought was actually somewhat usable in this spot was the 9-horse Rattle and Roll. He has a win in a prep coming into this at Oaklawn, going this trip with Joe Rosario up, and Joe Rosario is on the mount today. We've seen Joe Rosario get these types of big prices home. Again, a horse that his recent form is a little bit suspect. But I thought he was at least a bit of an interesting player in here because on his best day, he's been, a competitor at this type of a level. And if you're going to give me 40-1 on that kind of horse, I think he's at least a little bit interesting. And the other horse that I thought was really kind of interesting is the 10-horse Star of Wonder, who is, a horse that has 2 wins in both of the prep races for this. One comes out of the Brad Cox barn where he was fine. And then, wins effectively an allowance prep, wins a 200K stakes with Oyson Murphy. And then Osapina, who is the jock from the 2-back race, hops up on this one. And again, if you're a time form person, this horse had some figs in the States where he does not need a massive step forward to be a player here. And you're going to get 35-1 kind of price. I think that's an interesting sort of horse. So, I'm going to try to get around Forever Young on the spot and use the 2, the 9, and the 10 to do so. I thought there were some interesting local horses if you're playing an exacta or a trifecta that could be underneath, but I'll wait to hear how you guys approach this, and I'll throw those in at the end.
Caleb, Penn State Scott's asking, please tell me Caleb is on Tumbarumba.
I am not on Tumbarumba. No, unfortunately, I am not. I will say that I think I hate everything Mark just said. I could
Great.
not disagree probably more. This is a one-horse race, and if Forever Young doesn't show up, it's anybody's race, but it's Forever Young's race to lose. I mean, I don't know how you give him crap about not winning races in a row when he has 10 wins from 13 starts. You say, oh, he had a big figure, and then, what if he comes here? It's the exact same path he took last year. He went in the Breeders' Cup. He ran a 129 on time for him. He shipped to Saudi. He won the race. Actually got a prep in between that, actually, somehow, believe it or not. This time he'll be a little fresher coming off of an almost identical performance. He is so much the best in this race. 2 for 2 over this strip here. I don't think it's remotely close. So I'm kind of taking the opposite approach here. I'm going to just essentially go down with Forever Young on top. But I think there's value to be found underneath, and that's kind of where I'm going to separate a little bit. I detest Bishop's Bay. This is the fakest horse I've ever seen in my life. This horse, as the third choice, to me is laughable. I wouldn't take this horse at 30 to 1. Just no shot for me. Take out Reducer. I mean, sure, 6 to 1. I mean, I would if I take out Reducer, but yeah. I'm against Nisos in this race, and that might be the more pertinent piece of information maybe I should have led with. I've just never been really impressed with him since coming back from injury. I mean, his best race is probably the only race that he lost, which was in the Churchill Downs Stakes off the huge layoff where he was just beaten by Mindframe and Banishing. After that, I mean, he's beaten up on a couple of, stablemates, a couple of California has-beens. I mean, he's life and death to beat Citizen Bull of all horses in the Dirt Mile. No offense, Josh. And then life and death to beat Nevada Beach in the Lafitte Pink Eye Jr. I mean, these are horses. I mean, Nevada Beach is in this race, and I don't think anybody's giving him too much of a serious look, except for maybe Josh. But I don't see it here. I'm against Nisos. I also have some big questions about his ability to get a distance. I think the one turn configuration probably does help him, but nevertheless, I'm going to play against Nisos in here. I mean, I would probably prefer Nevada Beach to Nisos. These morning lines are completely silly. They're not going to be 4 to 1 and 5 to 1. They're probably going to be 2 to 1 and 10 to 1. So don't let anyone fool you into thinking these horses are going to be bet similarly, because I don't think that's true. But I'm against both of them. So I'm against Bishop's Bay, Nisos, and Nevada Beach. I'm looking for bombs underneath. I think the kind of one thing Mark said I didn't hate was Rattle and Roll. I think he's a great key underneath. I don't think he can win this race, but he does have some success shipping into Saudi and running well, and I think he can get a piece. I know he was 5th by 12 last time, but if you kind of figure that Forever Young and Romantic Warrior were just 10 lengths better than anybody else, that result doesn't look so bad. So I think Rattle and Roll is a nice key to use underneath in here. I think a horse like Banishing, super inconsistent, never really know what you're going to get from him. But on his day, he can certainly get a piece of this underneath. And I do think the one-turn configuration probably helps him out as well in here. And then, I think some of the local horses as well. I won't get into a ton of hemming and hawing about some of the local runners in here. But I think a horse like the number 6, Mahali, is one who will be on my tickets, as well as the horse who he just beat in that last race, the number 14, Amirat Al-Zaman, who, both of whom are really kind of horse for course type runners here, do very well at this track, are proven at this distance or longer. I probably don't think quite confident they can't win this race, but can certainly run, maybe second or third and spice up the exotics, which will otherwise be pretty uninspired if Forever Young ends up winning.
Am I reading that right? Joel Rosario rode this horse last time?
Yeah.
4 weeks ago, Joel Rosario just was like, hey, I'm going to Saudi for a weekend.
That was the jockey competition thing.
Well, interesting that Ryan Moore gets up here for the 14. Too bad Ryan Moore can't ride on dirt for shit. So, unfortunate, but.
What'd you like, Josh? I'm curious.
I am playing the role of Caleb today. I just absolutely playing the role of Caleb because first of all, I'm tossing all the fake short prices, and I'm splitting the difference between you and Mark. I think this is a 1.5 horse race. I think there's only 2 horses that can win this race. I think Forever Young probably wins this race. I'd probably say 60% of the time, if not more. I think that this is the best dirt horse going right now. And the second best dirt horse going isn't even a dirt horse. He's a turf horse, and he's actually back over in Hong Kong right now. Yeah, I just think that this is Forever Young's race to lose. I mean, honestly, I think like real value line on Forever Young is probably like 4 to 5. Like I think it's that big of a gap, and maybe I'm crazy, but I just think that he's far and away the best dirt horse that's running right now. Really, the only other horse I'm going to use is a horse that Mark really likes and is Mark's top pick that you called fake, and that's the 2 Bishops Bay.
Oh, you guys disgust me.
And I mean, like granted, right, a 5-year-old going into his first start as a 6-year-old on an upward kind of trend is like probably not the type of horse that you expect to top. But I think if you can kind of pair that what he ran in the Cigar Mile, going that one turn, I mean he's a major player in here, right? And it would require some regression, I think, from Forever Young. But I really think he's really the only other horse in this race that I trust. I don't trust Nisos. I've seen enough of horses like Rattle and Roll, Tumbarumba. I mean, I'm done with Nevada Beach at this point. I mean, Caleb, you know me. I wanted to make a case for banishing so bad.
I can't believe you're not with me on banishing. I'm
wanted
offended.
to make a case for banishing so bad. I mean, honestly, dude, part of me, last year, and it wasn't this race. It was the Dubai World Cup where Hit Show won. I gave out just some like stupid like price, and my buddies overseas hit on that. I'm gonna see what banishing is overseas. If he's like 40 to 1, I think I'm gonna give him an each way.
There we go. We're back. We're back.
Didn't you give them a Hit Show last year in the Dubai, which is not Saudi?
Yeah, that's why I said I gave out a good price in Dubai, and I even said Dubai. So I was.
Did you say Dubai? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But honestly, man, like the thing that scares me is like there's not a jock shipping over for this. I mean, maybe using a local guy is a plus here, but I don't know. I'm just kind of that scares me a little bit, but yeah, I mean, I just don't see how Forever Young loses this race. Honestly, I think it's going to be, I think if Forever Young loses, the only way I see it is if Bishops Bay is able to take a step forward from that last effort, and I think that's asking a bit from a 5-year-old going to 6, but. I saw Penn State Scott. He says 310 exacta, so he likes Forever Young over your horse, Star Wonder.
Yep. The only other horse I know, Caleb mentioned 2 of my 3 underneath horses. The other one I thought was neat was the 4-horse Hakit. Similar reasons to the 6 and the 14 that Caleb had mentioned prior. Both are kind of horse for course angle horses, and I like the fact that this one had a pretty solid prep 2 back and with a little bit of every other pattern. So they're not the kind of horses I think that can win any of the 3 of them. I think they're the kind of horses that can fill out the bottom end of your trifecta at a big price and get you a nice payout. That's all I'm saying. So, and I realized that Forever Young should win that. I've had this thing. I just never really liked Forever Young as a horse, and I guess I'm inventing new ways or new reasons. But I'm trying to Caleb this really hard. I don't like the horse, and so I'm just not going to use the horse, and it's going to cost me a lot of money somehow. But I'm just gonna keep on brand, and you got to be stubborn about these things, right?
I mean, absolutely. I mean, to be fair, we covered 6 races, and I don't think I was against a single favorite, truthfully. Not aggressively like takeout reducer level against, which is probably unheard of for me. I don't know if you mentioned it really though, Mark, but I'm curious, like, what are your thoughts on Nisos?
Nisos, I think this is too far, right? Like, isn't this like just further than he wants to go? I mean, he was, life and death to get up in the dirt mile. I think there's a lot better company here than his last out prep race for this. I don't know. And he's never really been a horse that's thrown up those kind of figs. I don't know. He's another horse that just I'm like no. It just feels. You get to that sort of subjective, like how you have some sort of like I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it, but it's just a horse. I think there's much more interesting places to go here. What was your take on him, Caleb? I don't know.
Exactly the same. Yeah, exactly the same.
Okay.
You know what my issue with Nisos is people talk about Nisos like Nisos is I'm actually trying to think like of a good Baffert dirt horse like that, like who was like the outside of Justify, who's like the last big really good Baffert dirt horse that you think of?
American Pharaoh.
Okay, more recent than that.
More
anybody?
recent.
I mean, I like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, but like people talk
Medina
about this,
Spirit.
I mean, like I was like, well, like, what National Treasure? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but like they like people are talking about Nisos. Like Nisos is like the best horse that we've had since Flightline. You know, the best dirt horse. You know, but look at how this horse has been campaigned. Look at the races that this horse has been entered in.
Right.
The Dirt Mile, the San Diego, the Triple Bent. Like, I don't think this horse is it.
I remember scratched out of the Breeders' Cup Classic or rerouted from the Breeders' Cup Classic to run in the Dirt Mile, like on the same day. So you can't say he like wasn't fit, but just like picked a softer spot, and probably good that he did, because I don't think he hits the board in the Breeders' Cup Classic this year.
Authentic. David Barista helping us out.
Yes, authentic.
Yeah, not even like, but you know what I mean. People are talking about people talk about Nisos in those same like hushed tones that they would talk about, you know, like the great like dirt horses that we've had, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me, man. Like I just don't think he's that good.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, like this would probably have been back in the day like a B Baffert. You know what I mean? But like he just I don't know. He just doesn't got it anymore.
I think it's just the hype from his, I don't even know, was it his 2-year-old or 3-year? I guess 2-year-old into early 3-year-old season, where he just looked incredible, but he just hasn't really, you know, continued on that trajectory, that Flightline-esque trajectory that I think some people thought he would. He's a nice horse. He's a nice miler, you know, should be in grade 1 races or, you know, win grade 2 races, but he's not the horse that a lot of people seem to think he is. Although apparently, you know, I'm looking at one version of Oversea odds. I can't find a very reputable source, Josh. If you have something better, I'd like to see it, because Bovada doesn't have it up to date yet. But they're showing Forever Young at 2-1 and Nisos at 3-1. I mean, if I'm getting 2-1 on Forever Young, I mean, both hands, you know, back up the truck, right?
I think that's an overlay. Like,
I think when the global pool's open, that certainly won't be the case because of with pari-mutuel and the Hong Kong betting and the, you know, Japan betting. But you know, the Americans are going to shovel money at Nisos too. So I think if you like anybody besides those two, you'll get your price, unless you like Bishop's Bay, because you're probably not going to get 60-1.
Yeah, what do we got? Bishop's Bay is currently 9-1 overseas. 12-1. You can get 12-1. Yeah, you see, Forever Young, I'm seeing at 4-5 already overseas.
Really? Okay. That might be a different, like, I'm looking at like a fixed odds pool.
Yeah, this is fixed odds. This is Bet 365. William
Okay.
Hill. Yeah, I'm seeing this really, really short. Yeah, I mean they're really betting this like a 2-horse race.
What do they have Nisos at? Like 7-2?
7-2.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have Nisos at 7-2, 10-3 is what I'm seeing, and then you get Nevada Beach at 11-1, Bishop's Bay at 12-1, Luxor Cafe at 14-1, and that's basically 25-1 plus on everybody else. So
Where the Star Wonder at?
Star Wonder 66-1.
Ooh.
You got to get somebody. You got to get somebody you know from overseas. And Cobb, I see you. I turned up a little bit here for you. But part of it's also probably that I was leaning back in my chair and not talking to the mic like a professional. But yeah, but Mark, I know you love Saudi, like, you want you want the hat and everything, for skiing
hat?
and things like that. Yeah, like
There's a hat.
yeah, what I forget the proper name for it, but uh, the traditional Saudi Arabian like wrap with the little thing that holds the head cover
This
in.
is gonna get really racist really quick,
That's
Josh.
not racist. That's just I just don't know the name of it. It's fine.
Like a turban?
But Mark, where like what other races did you like? Was there any spots in here that you kind of were really interested in
Yeah,
talking about?
I thought the Red Sea, the turf, the race immediately before, is a super interesting race. You have Epic Poet in here, who's the horse that ran, I think, second last year in this race. I know Caleb will love this. It's a 1.75 miles on turf, which is just his favorite thing ever. But no, I think Epic Poet ends up going off pretty short in here. I think the 8-1 morning line is going to get more than cut in half in here. I just would want to go other places. I thought
7 to
Sons
2
and
is what I'm
Lovers.
saying right now.
Yeah, I would say that's a joke of a morning line. I think Sons and Lovers, the 4 is actually super interesting in there. And the other horse I thought was really interesting is the 12 horse Terriance, who is kind of oftentimes I think when you get these divisions, you're looking at the new faces, and Terriance is that up and coming horse with Oysen up. So an interesting player in that spot. And I was actually going to try to double from those two into the Saudi Cup. So we'll see how that works out for me. I'm probably miss the hard race there. And then I also thought that there's a couple of other races that are in here that are pretty interesting. Saudi Derby, which is a Derby preps race, so that is race 4. And I think that's at least an interesting spot. You see, there's a bunch of American horses shipped over. I think who's the morning line favorite
My
in
World
there? My
for Brad
World,
Cox. Yep.
the Brad Cox horse, yeah. It was an interesting player in that spot. I also thought horses, Acknowledge Me Please, the one, or I thought somebody like Obliteration, the 7, were both really interesting players. Again, I'm looking at time form figs, and I think sometimes these morning line makers don't have those. But I almost kind of wonder if Rosario came over just for Obliteration. That seems to be his best mount on the card there. So.
Obliteration 7-1 overseas right now.
Okay.
You can actually get 7.5 to 1.
Ooh.
My World is actually 6-1. The favorite in the Saudi Derby is Satono Voyage at 3-1. That's the Japanese horse in this race. The 8.
Cool. Yeah, very cool. And then a horse that I think both of us have lost money on, Josh, is Lovesick Blues is running in the sprint, which is the next race. So, race 5.
Is that the horse that
you?
like last time? No. Oh, I'm thinking of a different horse. Who was the horse last year that like almost wired one of these races and we were both on? That was a Korean horse or something, wasn't it? Like
I can't remember what that horse was. Yeah, I know what you're
yeah.
talking about.
And we got nosed, and I think we got nosed the year before by like the same horse or another horse like that. It was not it was not good.
Yeah, but I think I didn't love Sick Blues in that sprint. I think there's
Mm-hmm.
a couple other. I think there's some prices in there that are pretty interesting. Horses like American Stage, the 1 just beat the odds. The 6, those types of horses I thought were really interesting in that spot.
Not
And I would
Imagination,
be,
not Bob Baffert's horse.
I am very against Imagination in that spot. So I
He's
mean,
another
Imagination's
short
a horse.
price. He's 3-2.
Imagination's 3
Yeah.
to 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh my
he's
goodness.
gonna be murdered in that race. Yeah, I think Imagination is a horse that again, another one of these horses, 3 for 14 lifetime, a horse that doesn't love to win, and just kind of invents new ways of losing. So I wanted to go other places in that race. So.
I don't care. You take a look at anything over here?
No, I haven't, but I mean, I just know who Imagination is, and for him to be 3 to 2 against any field is probably not right. But yeah, I have not had a chance to look at the undercard. I mean, I've kind of skimmed through it. It's a cool. It looks like a fun card. me being in mountain time now makes it a little bit harder to
Just early for you.
wake up in time to play it. But I may try to tune in for maybe like the late pick 3 or something like that.
Oh, come on! You're not going to be up at what is it, 5 a.m. Mountain Time to get the first
Right.
stakes race in?
Yeah, I mean, wasn't the first one usually like an Arabian bread, or is that that's a second race? Isn't
Yeah,
it?
second race.
Yeah.
the Saudi Derby will be 7 a.m. your time. You'll be up.
I actually might be up by then.
Yeah.
We'll see.
All right. Yeah, well, that's going to do it for us here. Thank you guys for tuning in here. And yeah, we'll, we got the next couple weeks already planned out. I did get confirmation from our friend, the Wolf of Oak Lawn. He's going to hop on with us for some of the Oak Lawn prep stuff when that comes up. So we'll have some guests for that. I see Cobb talking about 7-1 on obliteration. That's what I saw overseas. So you're able to get that. And Cobb also saying rip John. So shout out. John Sheriff's passed away today. So unfortunate loss for the racing community there. We'll our next stream, like I said, we'll be doing the Thursdays, doing the Derby preps basically up until Derby. Tomorrow night, I think at 10:45 Central, 11:45 Eastern, around that time, Shot Tin's going to be live. So me and Matt Carlson are going to live bet a little bit of Shot Tin there. So check us out there if you're a night owl and just want to degen late at night with us. No drinking champagne this week, but make sure you guys like and subscribe, hit all the buttons. Check us out at ontherwronglead.com, at wrong_lead on Twitter. I am at Cherry Drink. Mark is at 2 Turns. Caleb at CalebWVU. We will catch you guys next week. Good luck, and let's make some money. Thank you.